Before we begin, hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video and drop your thoughts in the comments. This is a story that affects North America, global security, and the balance of power. Do not miss what comes next. Tonight's breaking news is sending shockwaves through Washington. Canada has banned all United States military flights from flying over Canadian airspace. Yes, all U.S. military aircraft. No warning leaks, no quiet talks. A direct move. Immediate effect. This is not a small policy change. This is not paperwork. This is a line drawn in the sky. For decades, the United States and Canada have worked side by side on defense. They share the longest undefended border in the world. They share radar systems. They share intelligence. Through NORAD, both nations watch the skies together. So when Canada says American military planes cannot pass overhead, the world stops and listens. Pentagon officials are reportedly scrambling behind closed doors. Military planners are reviewing flight routes. Commanders are asking hard questions. How did this happen? Why now? And what does this mean for joint operations? The flights that once crossed Canadian airspace daily are now grounded or forced to reroute. That means longer routes, more fuel, more cost. Slower response times for missions heading to Alaska, Europe, or the Arctic. Canada's airspace has always been key. Now that door is shut, the Canadian government has not used soft words. Officials say this decision is about sovereignty, respect, and national interest. They say Canada will not allow its skies to be used in ways that go against its policies. This is not just about airplanes. This is about trust. And when trust cracks between two of the closest allies on Earth, the impact goes far beyond the clouds. The Pentagon is not used to hearing no from Ottawa. That is the truth. Behind the scenes, defense officials are said to be in urgent talks. Military leaders are studying maps late into the night. Every route that once seemed simple now looks complicated. Why is this such a big deal? Because geography matters. Canada sits between the continental United States and critical regions like the Arctic and parts of Europe. For certain missions, flying over Canada is the fastest and safest path. Without that path, plans change overnight. Sources say U.S. military aircraft involved in training, supply runs, and strategic positioning are affected. Even routine flights are now under review. Each flight must be rerouted. Each change brings delay, and delays in military timing are serious. Some experts believe this move may be linked to rising tensions over Arctic policy. The Arctic is no longer just ice and snow. It is oil. It is shipping lanes. It is military positioning. As ice melts, new paths open, and every nation with northern borders is paying attention. Canada has been vocal about protecting its Arctic territory. If Ottawa believes its sovereignty is being tested, it will act. And this action is bold. In Washington, the mood is tense. Lawmakers are demanding answers. Was there a diplomatic breakdown? Were warnings ignored? Or is this part of a larger shift in Canada's foreign policy? The alliance between these two nations has been called unbreakable. But even strong bonds can strain. And tonight, the strain is visible. There is another layer to this story that cannot be ignored. NATO. The United States and Canada are both key members of the NATO alliance. They stand together in global conflicts. They coordinate air defenses. They respond to threats as a team. So when Canada blocks U.S. military flights, even if only over its own territory, it sends a message to the world. Allies are watching. Rivals are watching even closer. Russia has long focused on Arctic expansion. China has shown growing interest in northern routes. If there is even a hint of division between Washington and Ottawa, other powers may see opportunity. Security analysts are asking one question: does this weaken North American defense unity? At the heart of it all is NORAD, the joint command that monitors threats in the skies. For decades, American and Canadian officers have worked side by side in the same rooms. They share radar data, they track aircraft together. It has been a symbol of deep trust. Now people are asking if this decision affects that partnership. Canadian officials insist NORAD remains intact. They say this is about airspace control, not breaking alliances. But critics argue that symbolism matters. A ban is a ban. In politics, signals are powerful, and this signal is loud. The Pentagon's reported panic is not about fear. It is about uncertainty. Military leaders plan for threats. They plan for storms. They plan for war. What they do not like is unpredictability from close allies. And right now, unpredictability fills the air. Let's talk about the economic impact. Military flights are not only about combat. They move equipment. They move supplies. They support joint exercises. Rerouting flights means higher fuel costs. It means more strain on crews. It means longer mission times. Taxpayers will feel that. Defense budgets are already stretched. Every extra mile in the sky adds dollars on the ground. But beyond money, there is politics. Some voices in Canada say this move shows strength. They argue that Canada must assert control over its territory without pressure from larger powers. Others worry it could damage trade and diplomatic ties with the United States, Canada's largest trading partner. In the United States, reactions are mixed. Some call for calm talks, others demand a firm response. The White House has not issued strong public criticism yet. That silence is being studied closely. Is Washington choosing quiet diplomacy, or is it weighing options carefully? One thing is certain. This decision did not happen overnight. Conversations likely took place. Warnings may have been given. But somewhere along the line, agreement failed. When agreement fails between neighbors, consequences follow. And the consequences of this move could shape North American policy for years. Here is what makes this moment historic. For generations, Americans and Canadians have seen each other as family. They fought wars together. They stood together after global attacks. They coordinated during crises. Airspace cooperation was almost automatic. It was assumed. Now that assumption is gone. Military planners are adjusting routes in real time. Diplomats are holding urgent calls. Analysts are debating what comes next. Will Canada lift the ban after negotiations? Will the United States change certain policies to rebuild trust? Or is this the start of a colder phase in the relationship? No missiles have been fired. No troops have moved against each other. But power is often shown through policy, not weapons. Control of the sky is control of movement. Control of movement is control of strategy. And tonight, Canada has exercised that control. The world is watching how Washington responds. Will it respond with pressure? With patience? With compromise? This is not just a headline. It is a test of alliance strength in a changing world. Stay tuned, because what happens next could redefine one of the closest partnerships on Earth. Now the pressure moves to the diplomatic table. Leaders in both countries know this cannot stay frozen for long. The United States depends on northern routes for rapid response. Canada depends on strong ties with Washington for trade, security, and economic stability. Neither side truly benefits from long-term tension. But pride is powerful in politics. Canadian officials are standing firm. They say this decision protects national control. They argue that every nation, big or small, has the right to decide who uses its airspace and under what conditions. They say respect must be mutual. In Washington, defense officials are calculating risks. If flights must avoid Canadian skies, aircraft may have to travel over oceans more often. That increases exposure to weather and potential threats. It stretches logistics. It changes readiness timelines. Military strategy depends on speed. Speed depends on access. Access has now been limited. Some lawmakers in the United States are calling for immediate high-level talks. Others are warning against escalation. They say a public fight would only deepen the divide. Behind closed doors, ambassadors are likely working nonstop. Quiet diplomacy is often louder than public speeches. The key question tonight is simple. Is this a temporary warning shot, or is it a long-term policy shift? Because if it is long-term, North America's defense map may need to be redrawn. The Arctic sits at the center of this storm. For years, experts have warned that the Arctic would become a new zone of competition. As ice melts, new shipping lanes open. Natural resources become easier to reach. Military access becomes easier too. Canada sees the Arctic as part of its identity and future. It guards that region carefully. Any move that touches Arctic sovereignty is taken seriously. If Ottawa believes American operations are moving in directions that challenge its control, even indirectly, it may respond strongly. The United States also views the Arctic as vital. It sees it as a strategic frontier. Submarines travel beneath icy waters, aircraft patrol above, surveillance systems scan for threats. When two allies share the same region but see it through different lenses, friction can grow. This flight ban may be about more than aircraft routes. It may be about who leads in the North. And leadership in the Arctic means influence over future trade, security, and power. Global powers are watching closely. If there is even a small crack in North American unity, competitors may test it. That is why this story matters beyond the border. This is about the balance of power in a changing world. Public reaction is building on both sides of the border. In Canada, some citizens praise the move. They see it as standing tall next to a larger neighbor. They believe independence must be visible, not just spoken. Others worry about economic backlash. The United States is Canada's largest trading partner. Billions of dollars move across the border every day. Stability keeps that engine running. In the United States, military families are asking practical questions. Will deployments change? Will missions be delayed? Will costs rise? Business leaders are watching carefully. Markets do not like uncertainty. Even small cracks between close allies can shake investor confidence. Political commentators are already debating whether this is a short-term standoff or the start of a colder chapter. History shows that alliances survive disagreements. But history also shows that ignored tensions grow. What makes this moment different is the suddenness. No long public buildup, no drawn-out negotiations. Just a clear decision that changed military movement overnight. That kind of shift forces fast reactions. And fast reactions can lead to unexpected outcomes. Now comes the question of response. Will the United States challenge this move, legally, under existing defense agreements? Will it push for emergency NATO consultations? Or will it choose quiet talks to avoid public friction? Every option carries weight. A strong public reaction could pressure Canada, but it could also harden positions. Silence could cool tensions, but it could also be seen as weakness. This is the tightrope leaders must walk. Military planners are known for preparing backup plans. They're likely already testing new air corridors. They're reviewing international law. They're studying alliance agreements line by line. But diplomacy moves slower than aircraft. The next statements from Washington and Ottawa will matter deeply. Words will be measured. Tone will be analyzed. Because sometimes a single sentence can either calm a storm or feed it. Tonight, both capitals know the world is listening. This moment may become a turning point. Not because of conflict, not because of war, but because of boundaries. Canada has made it clear that control of its skies is not automatic. The United States now faces a choice on how to answer that message. Alliances are not built on force. They are built on trust, shared goals, and constant communication. If communication failed here, it must be rebuilt. The coming days will reveal whether this is a brief dispute or the start of a deeper shift in North American relations. One thing is certain. The sky over Canada has become the center of global attention. What happens next will shape military planning, Arctic policy, and diplomatic trust for years to come. Stay alert, stay informed, because this story is far from over. And when the next update comes, it could change everything.